This is John Wilkes at the U.S. National Cattlemen's Beef Association convention in Orlando, Florida. And I am joined by Nathan Phinney
Correct.
from the Canadian Cattlemen's Association. Nathan, it's great to have you drop by for a chat. So, obviously, a lot went on last week in relation to the sort of Canada and UK trade situation. I wonder if you could shed a few thoughts on that, or give us some thoughts on that.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Thanks for taking the time and sitting down to kind of discuss some of the ongoing issues that we're having. And first and foremost, the UK is a G7 country and a friend of Canada's, and we want to make that very clear that we are allies, and we are strong partners. But we've been dealing with some of these non-tariff regulations for some time now, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of movement on them. And we were very disappointed to see the UK walk away from the negotiating table. But given how the conversations have gone over the last few years, it really wasn't surprising to our industry.
And obviously, it came as a bit of a shock to a lot of people what happened. But how do you feel things going forward? Hopefully the UK will come and sit down with you again.
I think the sooner we can get back to the table is what we really would like to ultimately see happen. Sometimes these things have reached a point where there's no movement, so we need to pause them, maybe, and get back to the table with clearer heads. Our big thing, we're very strong science and research based, and the globe looks at our food safety system that we use as top of the line globally. That's our biggest issue with the UK is we're pro technology, we're pro science, and I know there's been a lot of talk around the hormone ban, and the growth hormones used. Our position is they're safe, but let the consumers decide. And the producers. And if producers really want to feed into that market and grow without them, that's their prerogative, and we're not going to stand in the way. But we need to have a system that we can get the product in, because as it stands now, with the regulations, they won't allow or accept our food safety system, and that's preventing our product from even entering the country.
Gotcha. So just to expand on that a little bit, in relation to the growth hormone and hormones, it seems that there's a little bit of misconception, maybe around in the media, as to exactly what the Canadian Cattlemen's Association stance is on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a piece of technology that science has proved works, and we use them in our production system, but not saying everybody uses them. If it fits your model, then they use them. If it doesn't fit your model within the Canadian production system, that's a prerogative of the producer. So there are cases where the producers don't use them. Which would make the cattle eligible to go into the UK market if that is their desire. But as it stands, our processors aren't going to back off of our food safety system for a certain market. We export to a multitude of countries, so we would like to have these cattle, if they want to go there, labeled as such to enter that market. But we need this food safety system approved.
And you could that is crucial, really, for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a market that we are interested in, or we wouldn't be at the table and having these discussions.
No, of course.
I mean, we want to be part of it. As I said in my opening comment with you, is we love trading with friends, and I think that's what we have to realize too. That this isn't we're not crossing enemy lines here. We're all bound, and have worked together in the past, and I think we can get over this. I think some of these misconceptions of what it is that's the real issue need to be kind of cleared up. And, for us, the regulatory food safety system that we have here in Canada is the big one. And I think that's the one that's least talked about.
Yeah, it seems that maybe that the growth about a hormone thing has kind of clouded some of the other stuff from your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was the media headlines that we saw, last week after the UK walked off the negotiating table. Was everywhere you looked was on growth proponents, and yeah, I mean, that's part of it. We would love to see them accept it, but if that's their preference not to, I mean, the consumers will decide what they want. But we need a system that allows us to even move product. And for our producers here in Canada, when we looked at the values last year, there was $33 million worth of UK beef shipped into Canada, and Canada sent $0 worth over. We don't have an avenue in our food safety system. Once again, we're not going to change it to meet a market's demand when the rest of the global market accepts and stands behind what it is we do.
Gotcha. Coming to, so politically speaking, obviously you have an election, maybe, I mean, we have an election in the UK this year pretty much for certain, and you maybe have an election in Canada coming up possibly this year or into early next. Do you think that that the political forces in charge are maybe looking to get some support from the rural community and sort of maybe would back you more on this than at other times?
Yeah, I think our government. We're glad to see that they have taken a hard stand right now with what's going on for the Canadian producers. Obviously, and I'm not going to criticize one government over the other, but the less government interference a lot of times is better for open and free trading markets. There's a bigger thing at play here too. Is the UK has made application into the CPTPP, which is a progressive trade deal that Canada was one of the original 6 to sign on out of 11 countries, and that has worked extremely well for all partners. And there was concerns other countries had going into that about product, and it was a new idea. But you can ask those countries that had concern, that has worked well. We've had a strong stance that we said until these non-tariff barriers were resolved, as an industry, we couldn't support our government in asserting the UK into this. But however, if this gets resolved at these bylaws, we would 100% be standing behind our government and say, sign the ink, get the UK in.
I see, because that was something I was going to come on to, CPTPP and your position on that, because historically in the media in recent times, there's been calls that that you don't want your government to support UK access into the group, and obviously I should imagine that's some concern on that back in the UK. But ultimately your position is you're happy to support, but
yeah, I mean, the first country coming in since the original 11 is the UK, and for us, where we're standing on our industry, they're bringing some non-tariff regulation and barriers with them. That's not what the foundations of the trade deal were built off of. And we have some legitimate concern that could set precedents for other countries that are looking down of what potentially they could bring. And I think that trade deal in itself needs to hold the high standard of which is sought after, and that's why these countries see how well that it works that aren't in and are looking to get in. And I'll state it again. If we can get over these non-tariff trade barriers and regulations, our industry, holds a pretty hard voice and a hard line here. We would be standing behind our government and saying 100% yes, sign them in.
Well, Nathan, thank you so very much for sharing your thoughts with me, and wish you all the very best in the future and a safe flight back up into Canada after the convention here, and look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, you too, John. It's been a pleasure. It's been great to meet you.
Thanks very much. Thank you.